I want to raise the big questions tonight and be unambiguous about them. What does this indictment mean for Adani Group, one of the biggest groups in the country? Is it true that Gautam Adani hid the probe information from regulators as is being alleged? Is SEBI in this country shielding the Adani Group? Will the opposition ruled states order an investigation, or the states certainly where the bribery charges have been made? And what next for the markets and indeed for Gautam Adani and those who the opposition claims are protecting him? Joining me now is Abizar Divanji. He's founder Neostrat Advisors. He's a top corporate lawyer. Sanju Verma is national spokesperson BJP. Shama Mohammed is national spokesperson Congress. Karan Thukral is advocate at the Supreme Court. And Shankar Iyer is political economy analyst, author and columnist. I'm going to come to the politicians in a moment, but I want to go to the experts first. I'm going to stop you at that point because you've raised both the questions of the impact it will have on the Adani's ability to raise capital, but the larger issue of the way power purchase agreements are signed in India. Karan Thukral, this is an area which has often been discussed, the manner, the lack of transparency, that contracts in India often involve under the table bribe. Just the amounts involved here might seem staggering to some, certainly to the US, but in India this is one of the worst kept secrets, that a lot of these projects do involve bribing government officials. Now, the claims against Mr. Adani are in the nature of allegations at this stage. They are not proven. However, do you believe that the Indian government must launch its own parallel inquiry, given that a US court has specifically given a timeline of the bribes that were allegedly paid to governments here in this country? You're on mute. You're on mute, Mr. Thukral. You're on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Mr. just quoted it very well in the first line itself, that this is only an indictment. What Mr. Adani has been alleged to have done is that he did not disclose that how these contracts with the discoms were obtained through paying lucrative bribes. This is allegation basically against him. He promoted debt securities bonds, green bonds globally, which included the US market, targeting international investors, US investors. Now, it's in a very layman's words, it's misleading the investors and violating disclosure requirements. Now, this indictment can only proceed further when the extradition takes place. There is an extradition treaty between the India and the US, and what fire and wildfire which is going on over here, there is only single extradition treaty which was signed in 1997, was enforced in 1999, which basically promotes extradition but does not obligates or mandates India to extradite its own national. So if, for example, the US court has indicted Mr. Adani, India is having a kind of immense discretionary powers to refuse the extradition, and that indictment will not result into anything. India is having an option to basically prosecution.
No, but should India be launching a parallel inquiry in this country? Extradition is one aspect. India has the right to deny, and it's unlikely you will extradite a billionaire businessman. It's unlikely, extremely unlikely. But the fact is, should we be ordering an inquiry or not in this country?
That has to be done under the treaty. That is, India is obligated to do that. If they refuse the extradition, they have to basically start a prosecution over here. If the US prosecutors basically bring forward good credible evidence, they have to start a prosecution over here in India before the domestic competent courts. This is under obligation. They have to do that. If they refuse.
Okay, I've heard the legal experts and our business analyst Shankar Iyer. Let's get the politicians in for a moment.